Today, we're going to be talking about some of the biggest quarterback myths that there are. We're going to be talking about a lot of the dumb things that quarterback coaches say, that non-quarterback coaches say that quarterbacks, quote unquote, shouldn't do. And we're going to be showing examples of NFL quarterbacks doing exactly what some coaches say not to do and why it's actually more efficient than some people might think. So the first one is going to be patting the ball. This is the one that pisses me off to no end because honestly, I'm willing to say probably over 85% of all NFL quarterbacks pat the football. I mean, if you could find me more than that don't pat the football, cool. But most of them pat the football because it's really not that big a deal. And you would rather have your quarterback be comfortable back here and worry about crap that actually matters rather than, oh, well, you're patting the ball. That's not good. It's going to waste time. Guys, it's not going to waste time. So look at this example of one of the quickest release players in the entire history of the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, and what he does before he throws the ball. Pats the ball. Right? Again, we'll show it again. He's set up. He's nice and relaxed. Pats the ball. Because, again, guys, everybody says, oh, well, the pat's going to take longer. And, okay, well, like, if he pats the ball, and, like, let's say before he throws the ball, like I swear some of these older school quarterback coaches would rather have you lift the ball up to your ear and not pat it and say that, oh, well, lifting the ball is not wasted motion, but patting the ball is. I swear to God, like, it's like they worry about the wrong things. Like, you ask them about hip rotation, you ask them about front stride, you ask them about base, kinetic chain, kinetic sequence. They couldn't tell you what any of that stuff is. But, hey, don't pat the ball. God forbid you pat the ball. So, guys, don't worry about patting the ball. If you pat the ball, I wouldn't even change it, to be 100% honest with you. And I honestly think patting the football helps quarterbacks rotate their shoulders back, and that puts them in a position called dissociation. Because when you take a step to the target, and again, all the old head guys won't be able to tell you about this, but when you take a step to the target and you pat the football back and you rotate your shoulders back, and that pat helps you rotate your shoulders, this is a position, like I said, called dissociation. Foot down, lower body going forward, shoulders going backwards. This sets you up for torque, because now when your hips decide to rotate through and you transfer weight to your front foot, that creates like this like kinetic chain, or that, like, I guess you could say, like, coil effect, and that rips your arm through. So sometimes the pat can help you rotate your shoulders. So guys, you don't want to be super tense with the ball carriage. You don't want to be front hand glued to the ball and you push the ball back and, oh, well, at least I didn't pat. It's going to be quicker that way. Now, if you're a dude that pats and it's like it's a hinge where you're like, you set up, you load, you pat, and it's wasted time, then yeah, maybe it's a problem. But if you're patting and your release is fine and you're relaxed, it gets you to the right mechanical spot, and that's just how you throw the ball, you're totally fine. Guys, padding is not a big deal. I would, like I said, probably over 85%. Honestly, I would care to say it's probably 100% of NFL quarterbacks pat the damn football, because you know how relaxed you have to be back there? If you're tense, and why would you try to change that with an NFL quarterback? It doesn't make any sense, you guys. Release time, foot speed, timing comes from your foot speed, your drop, your kinetic sequence. There's so much more important things than patting the football, and this is something that pisses me off to no end, because there are countless numbers of examples of quarterbacks who do pat, and coaches just say that stuff because they're trying to sound important, and they're trying to sound like, oh, well, I'm coaching. I'm coaching something. Guys, sometimes it's better to not coach something than to overcoach something that really doesn't matter. Focus on the things that matter ultimately with your teachings. Now, let's look at this example from Patrick Mahomes. Now, I know most of you'll say is Patrick Mahomes is not a guy mechanically to talk about. And I probably would agree with most of that. But this is a situation for all the quarterback coaches that say that you must throw over the top. That's not true. There's not a same, but now there are a lot of quarterback coaches that say you should only throw with a sidearm or like 3/4 type arm slot. I don't think that's true either. And that's what I want to discuss. But before we get into that, fellas, if you're a quarterback or even a receiver and you would like to train with us this offseason, we are going to be traveling out to 15 different cities across the country for 2-day long QB and wide receiver training camps. So guys, check out that very first link in the description below if you guys would like to sign up and train with us this offseason. We're going to be coming out to San Francisco, Orlando, Phoenix, Charlotte, Austin, Las Vegas, Seattle, Chicago, Newark, Birmingham, Houston, Boston, Columbus, Boise, and Los Angeles, you guys. So guys, if you're local to one of those cities or would like to travel out to train with us, again, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out to any one of our off-season camps. All these spots will sell out. So guys, make sure you take advantage before the spots are gone. So again, very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this arm angle video. So this is an example of Patrick Mahomes dropping back, climbs up in the pocket, throws around somebody into a very, very tight window. That's a tough throw to teach. You know what I mean? But let's talk about the situation, right? So he's running up in the pocket. He's got a guard right in front of his face. So how the hell is he going to throw over the top? So what he does is he leans forward a little bit and he changes up his arm slot. And he ends up threading the needle between his center, between his guard, and right over a defender, right? And so his arm angle changes because he has to throw around somebody. Now, I guarantee you guys, if this guy isn't here and he has to thread this ball and throw it over a defender, why would he throw sidearm? There's no need to throw sidearm. So what he would do is he would throw more over the top because he's trying to put like more of a touch pass. So the reason why I showcase this, you guys, because one of the myths is that like, oh, you gotta be over the top. Not true. You must be sidearm. Not true. At least not every time. There are many different arm slots. There are many different types of throws. I guarantee you, like if we're throwing this drag, probably not gonna throw sidearm. Maybe he has a lower arm slot, and that's totally cool too. I just don't think that there's like a one way to do it. Because you look at so many different quarterbacks and they have different arm slots for every single throw. Like a lot of people publicize oh, did you see him throw sidearm there? It's like, yeah, but did you see the other 10 throws that he made where his arm slot was higher, or maybe his arm slot was 3/4, or like, and again, and people get that type of info and then they think, oh, every throw I got to make is sidearm because it's the trend. It's what all the quarterbacks do. It's like there are different situations, you guys. With my quarterbacks, we work every type of arm slot. We throw it over the top when we're throwing a touch pass. If we're throwing just like a dig, a normal route, and there's nobody in front of us, I really don't emphasize their arm slot that much. I'm focused on other things. We work situations where we have to throw around somebody and we have to change up the slot. Mechanically, you're like sequence, like we talked about in that Aaron Rodgers clip, upper body, lower body dissociation, your hip rotation. That allows you to do all that type of stuff. So it's one of those things where you got to work on many arm slots. There's not one way to do it, as we see here from this example of Mahomes, that the one way to do it is not always over the top. Sometimes sidearm can be very, very good, but also not every situation calls for a sidearm throw. All right, so now this next example here is going to be from C.J. Stroud, and the next quarterback myth is one of my favorites to talk about, and that is moving with the back foot first. That is complete crap, complete garbage. There are so many more important things than you moving with your back foot first because you're a right-hander, so you got to move with your right foot, and it's because it's going to eliminate wasted steps. Like, this is a perfect example of C.J. Stroud moving with his front foot first, and he's totally fine. So let's show this full speed, and then we'll break it down. So he's coming off a play action, left foot first, right foot plants, delivers a shot. Totally fine ball. Wasn't super late. It wasn't like the end of the world didn't happen like so many other quarterback coaches will say. Like, oh, you moved with your left foot. That's terrible. It's like, no, it's not, guys. Like, one step is not going to make a huge difference. What will make a huge difference is you having the right mechanics. So CJ Stroud's getting some inside pressure here. So watch what he does here. Do you see him move? Do you see him go with his right foot and step over here? No. What does he do? He's set up in a base at the top of the drop. Left foot moves first. Right foot plants, lands on the right foot, drives this thing, right? So the reason why, if anything, I teach my quarterbacks to move with their front foot first is because I'm more worried about their mechanics and getting an efficient ball downfield, not like a millisecond of a step to get the ball out quickly. So let me explain what I mean by that. So as a quarterback, when we throw, let's go back to the Aaron Rodgers example, right? Because Aaron Rodgers can back this up because he's got the best form in the NFL. Where is his weight? Back leg. Right? The reason why he has his weight on his back leg is because he wants to take that weight and transfer it to his front foot. Now, he also has weight on this back leg, and when he takes a step to the target, you see how he maintains weight on that back leg. That allows him to rotate his shoulders back. That allows him to get to that dissociation position. Front foot down, shoulders rotating back. So that's why you keep weight on your back leg, because when your shoulders rotate back as your front foot's down, what ends up happening is that your hip rotates through, and when your hip rotates through before your shoulders, you could keep your hand up by your chest, your shoulders, your hips level, you keep your head steady, which allows your release point to just be wherever you flick your wrist and extend, that's where the ball's generally going to go. And it's because you're using your legs and your hips. You don't feel the need to pull your elbow down or dip your head out of there. A lot of QBs, when they throw, they leave a lot of weight onto their front side. Like pre-throw, they'll have probably like 60-70% of their weight on their front foot. So when they take a step to the target, that back foot is left behind them, and then essentially their shoulders are the only thing rotating them through. And so they'll pull the elbow down, they'll dip their head, and their release is real wild. And so guess what, guys? When you move in the pocket and you move with your back foot first, you take your back foot out of the ground. And so when you take your back foot out of the ground, where does all your body weight go? The front foot. And then when all your weight's on your front foot, guess what? We can't get to that dissociation position. Those hips aren't going to lead first. So we look at CJ Stroud here in this example. He goes left foot, lands with the right foot. Where is his weight? His weight is loaded onto his backside. What does he do? He's rotating his shoulders back as the front foot gets down, and then watch what happens. The hips go through before the shoulders do, and that's what helps him deliver an accurate shot. Now, let's see if he pats. Yeah, big pat, you guys, like I told you. See right there? Watch his front hand. I know it's a little blurry. Pats the ball. Again, guys, the pat does not matter. I hate to go back to that again. I already talked about it. But again, there's another example. C.J. Stroud patting the ball, and you see moving with the front foot first. So, guys, the main thing that I want you guys to understand from this video is you got to question everything that a coach tells you. Even myself. Like, go try it for yourself. Because if a coach can't answer questions about it, and he just goes, oh, well, do it because I say so, why would you listen to that? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. Like, I don't care what level he played at either. Like, if you can't support the argument, then why would you ever say it? Like, so a lot of guys are so conditioned to the old way of doing things. Don't pat the ball. Well, why? Well, I can't tell you why. Just don't do it. Well, don't move with your back foot first. Well, why? What if I move with my front foot first and it keeps my base? And they can't answer it. Then don't listen to it, guys. Try things for yourself. And if you hate for moving front foot first, fine. Move back foot first. I'm not going to stop you. But I'm telling you right now, if a coach can't back up what he is saying, back up what he is teaching you, give you a reason why behind it, maybe you shouldn't do it. And you should try it for yourself. Every single mechanical thing you hear from me, I encourage you to try. I encourage you to find the things that work best for you, and that's what's going to ultimately improve your game. Because if you don't question anything and you just end up being just that athlete who's just like stupidly coachable and doesn't like, I'm not saying be like a renegade and like question everything he says and be disrespectful, but like have a conversation about it. Like, well, I want you to do this. Well, why? What's your reasoning behind that? And if he can explain it and you do it and you see results, great. If he does and he explains it and you don't see results, then maybe we should look for something different. It's a results-based position. It's a result-driven position. So I'm telling you guys right now, you hear advice, don't just take it and just, okay, that's it. That's the Bible. Like, hear it, think about it, work on it, try different things and figure out what works for you. That's how you get better as a quarterback. Don't be like me as a player where I would hear something from a coach and I would just completely listen to what he had to say and like never question anything. And you should listen to your coaches. I'm not saying don't listen to them, but I'm saying have that dialogue because that's only going to make you a better player.